The battle of technology continues between the U.S. and China as China appears poised to overtake the U.S. in terms of having the fastest supercomputer in the world. Welcome to Asia Today. I'm Mariko Sanchanta. With me to discuss this is Bob Davis, Senior Editor in China. Now, Bob, talk to me about the relevance of having the world's fastest supercomputer in a day where mobile technology, more than anything else, is the most relevant thing.
Well, you know, supercomputers can do things that other kinds of computers can't. So, I mean, if you want to build a nuclear weapon and you want to build a missile and you want to go to the moon and you want to track climate change, build a stealth bomber, you need a supercomputer. And having a fast one makes a difference. But the world's changed a lot in the past 20 years when supercomputers were synonymous with basically with national power and national competitiveness.
Can you tell me, especially in light of all the hacking that's been going on between China and the U.S., I mean, what does that mean for the fact that China now has its fastest supercomputer? Could it be any kind of security threat to other countries in the world?
I don't think it's that kind. I think my understanding of how that kind of technology works is not having, you know, one big super fast computer. It's having lots of computers. Kind of what you were talking about. It's not quite mobile computing, but it's kind of a lot of big servers all over the place, and they're all linked together. This is more useful for doing a really big project.
And tell me about these rankings themselves. Now, you know, this has been a three-way race between U.S., China, and Japan for a while now, but how ephemeral are these rankings?
Every 6 months.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, China the last time, a couple of years ago, they were #1, and then the Japanese overtook them 6 months later, and God knows who will well, it'll be one of the three. It's always been one of the three. It's usually the United States, but Japan has a lot of very fast machines too.
And is there really a difference between #1, 2, and 3? I mean, are there significant differences in the computing power of these machines?
I don't think it makes, to a normal person, I don't think it would make a heck of a lot of difference. They are looking for kind of big leaps in technology now, where I forget what the technology is called, to be honest, but it would be a substantial qualitative difference in, you know, what you have now and what you would have in the future. And in that race, China's way behind, because then you're talking about new technology, not just applying older technology. Yeah, no, it's the kind of race that keeps scientists up at night, and also, quite frankly, helps them get funding. China's #1, so you could make sure that that'll be a big arguing point in Congress for increasing funding for supercomputer development.
That's a great point. My question about China's technology, though, is it their own proprietary technology? Do we know anything about how they developed it and where they got it from?
Well, you know, that's kind of interesting. 20 years ago, when supercomputing was kind of synonymous with national power, the way you built a supercomputer was you had 1 or 2 or 3 really fast processors, and you built this gigantic system around it, which would be so hot, literally hot, that it had to be cooled with all kinds of fancy coolants. And now what they do is they take microprocessors, the stuff you have in your computer, and tie tens of thousands of them together. So that's one of the reasons that China and other countries are able to build fast computers, because the technology is well known. It's the difficulty is tying this stuff together and getting it to work in concert. This particular computer generally uses a new generation of Intel microprocessors. So it's in some ways an American machine. But one of the things that's different about it is that it also uses Chinese designed microprocessors. If China got to a point where it used only used its own microprocessors, only used its own parts in these machines, then it could actually start thinking about exporting them, which that's a different kind of world, because then, you know, places that the U.S. wouldn't sell or Japan wouldn't sell computers to, and China might, you'd run into big national security issues.
And Bob, is this a big deal in China? Do people in China think it's a big deal that they now have the world's fastest supercomputer?
You know, it's news that's just breaking, so this part hasn't been known. But the last time they were #1 At the end of the year, Xinhua, their state-owned news service, ranked the idea that they were #1 as one of the 10 biggest news stories of the year. So yeah, it's a big deal here.
Great. Thanks so much. Bob Davis, senior editor in our Beijing bureau in China. For more on the story, please go to WSJ.com. For Asia Today, I'm Mariko Sanchanta.